Like every mysterious Wednesday, this story begins with something small, something almost innocent. It started with a Facebook post, one that seemed harmless, even sweet. Enjoying Thanksgiving with my baby. But the photo? It didn't match. Something was off. No one had heard from Jasmine Pace in days, and her family quickly realized someone was pretending to be her. Her tattoos, missing from the photo. Her car, abandoned in a place she didn't go. Her phone, silent. What came next would uncover a twisted cover-up, a violent secret, and a desperate race against time led not by detectives, but by her own mother. This is the true story of how a single social media post unraveled a chilling mystery, and how a bright 22-year-old woman vanished, only to be found in the most horrific way imaginable. If you're fascinated by cold cases, secret files, unsolved disappearances, and supernatural phenomena, you've just found your new favorite channel. Subscribe now, turn on notifications to never miss a new video, and share with others. Don't forget to hit the like button. It helps us create even better content every day. In late November 2022, the city of Chattanooga, Tennessee, was shaken by the sudden disappearance of 22-year-old Jasmine Pace. Jasmine, a student at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, was last seen on November 22nd, leaving her mother's home around 11:27 p.m. That evening, she informed her mother, Katrina, via text message, that she would be staying with a friend for the rest of the week, a decision that seemed unusual, especially with the Thanksgiving holiday approaching. Concern escalated when, on November 26th, a post appeared on Jasmine's Facebook page stating, "Thanksgiving with my baby," accompanied by a photo that her family found uncharacteristic. Attempts to reach Jasmine were unsuccessful, prompting her family to utilize the MyChevy app to locate her vehicle. They discovered her abandoned car near the Signal View condominiums off Mountain Creek Road, with the driver's seat adjusted for someone taller than Jasmine's 5'2" stature. Fearing for her safety, Katrina reported her daughter missing to the Chattanooga police. The investigation led authorities to Jason Chen, a fellow student at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, whom Jasmine had been dating after meeting on a dating app earlier that year. Chen's apartment on Tremont Street became a focal point after Jasmine's family tracked her phone's location there on November 23rd. Upon entering the apartment, they found Jasmine's identification and credit cards, but no sign of her or Chen. Days later, on December 1st, authorities discovered Jasmine's body inside a suitcase near the Tennessee River. The medical examiner reported that she had suffered multiple injuries. Jason Chen was subsequently arrested at his parents' home in Nolensville, Tennessee, and charged with first-degree premeditated murder and abuse of a corpse. In January 2025, Chen was convicted and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Imagine a young woman, full of life and dreams, suddenly vanishing without a trace. Her family, gripped by an escalating dread, uncovers a series of digital breadcrumbs that lead them into a chilling nightmare. This is the harrowing story of Jasmine Pace, a 22-year-old student whose disappearance during Thanksgiving 2022 sent shockwaves through Chattanooga, Tennessee. Jasmine was a vibrant presence, deeply connected to her family and friends. When she abruptly cancelled her Thanksgiving plans, her mother, Katrina, felt a pang of concern. This unease intensified when a Facebook post appeared on Jasmine's profile, captioned, "Enjoying Thanksgiving with my baby." The accompanying photo seemed off, her distinctive tattoos were missing, and the image appeared outdated. Alarm bells rang louder when friends and family received text messages from Jasmine's phone, all insisting she wanted to be alone. Yet no one had spoken to her directly. Determined to find her daughter, Katrina utilized the MyChevy app to locate Jasmine's vehicle. The white Chevy Equinox was found abandoned near the Signal View condominiums, with the driver's seat adjusted for someone taller than Jasmine's 5'2" stature. Inside, her belongings were missing, deepening the mystery. Desperation led Jasmine's parents to the Tremont Street apartments, where they discovered their daughter had been seeing Jason Chen, a computer science student she met on a dating app. Their investigation revealed unsettling signs. Jasmine's belongings scattered in Chen's apartment and traces of what appeared to be blood. Despite their pleas, initial police response was slow, prompting the family to take matters into their own hands. Their relentless pursuit uncovered surveillance footage showing Chen purchasing cleaning supplies and moving a large suitcase from his apartment. Days later, investigators found Jasmine's body brutally stabbed and confined within a suitcase near the Tennessee River. The evidence painted a grim picture of premeditation and a failed attempt to cover up the heinous act. Jason Chen was arrested and charged with first-degree premeditated murder. The trial unveiled disturbing details, including Chen's meticulous notes about Jasmine's past and his attempts to manipulate the narrative. Despite the defense's claims of a crime of passion, the jury found Chen guilty, sentencing him to life without the possibility of parole. This tragic tale underscores the profound impact of digital footprints in modern investigations and serves as a somber reminder of the lengths a family will go to seek justice for their loved one. But how did it come to this? Let's go back and uncover how it really happened. As the investigation unfolded, everything pointed back to one place: apartment 210 on Tremont Street. Inside, Jasmine's belongings were scattered in plain sight. Her ID, credit cards, and a small travel bag sat on the kitchen counter. But Jasmine herself was nowhere to be found. Despite multiple visits to the apartment and an overwhelming sense of dread, authorities initially hesitated to act. It was only after Katrina Pace, Jasmine's mother, returned with more evidence, more pressure, and more desperation that police obtained a warrant and re-entered the scene. This time, what they found would change everything. Investigators noted traces of what appeared to be blood on the hardwood floor, on the carpet, even on the bathroom walls. Using a forensic agent called Blue Star, the room lit up. Blood had been cleaned, unsuccessfully. The layout of the furniture suggested it had been rearranged to cover a large stain beneath the bed. On the mattress, a kitchen knife. On the floor, shards of broken glass. In the trash outside, a pair of white sneakers and blue pants that matched the surveillance footage. But the most crucial evidence was still missing: Jasmine's body. Surveillance footage showed Jason Chen dragging a heavy suitcase from his apartment on the evening of November 23rd. He loaded it into his car and drove away. Where did he go? Phone data provided the answer. GPS logs placed Jason's vehicle near Suck Creek Road, an isolated stretch that ran along a riverbank just outside the city. On December 1st, nearly 10 days after Jasmine vanished, detectives searched the area. That's when they saw it: a suitcase, partially submerged, wrapped in trash bags. Inside, they found Jasmine. She had been shackled, her right arm handcuffed to her right ankle, and her left ankle linked to her right elbow. These were not police-issued restraints. They were flimsy, but cruelly efficient. She had been stabbed more than 60 times, primarily in the left upper side of her body. The blade of the knife was still embedded in her chest. An autopsy revealed something even more disturbing. Jasmine had been alive when she was bound. The pattern of injuries, the lack of defensive wounds on her right side, and the placement of the cuffs all pointed to a horrific conclusion. She never had a chance to fight back. The image was now clear. Jason Chen had lured Jasmine into his apartment, taken her life in a prolonged and violent attack, then tried to clean, cover, and digitally disguise the truth. He used her phone to post a misleading Facebook update. He texted her friends and family to buy time, and after discarding her body, he returned home to play video games. The courtroom was silent as the jury returned. It had taken them less than an hour to reach a decision. Jason Chen was found guilty of first-degree premeditated murder. The evidence was overwhelming. The wounds, the restraints, the attempt to manipulate the story. It all painted a picture not of panic, but of calculation. But perhaps what struck the jury most wasn't the physical evidence. It was the humanity Jasmine had lost, and the humanity her killer tried to erase. During sentencing, Jason's mother pleaded with the court, through a translator, for mercy. She described her son as a good boy, not a monster. She begged for hope, for the possibility of redemption. His defense team echoed that plea, not because Jason deserved it, they said, but because we, as a society, must reflect our values, even when facing the worst of us. But the jury had already seen enough. They unanimously agreed. The murder was heinous, atrocious, and cruel. It involved torture. And the sentence? Life in prison. No possibility of parole. Justice had been served, but the pain would never fully go away. Jasmine Pace was a daughter, a sister, an aunt, a godmother, and a friend. She was described as fiercely protective, full of life, and deeply loving. She dreamed of having children, cherished her 4 cats, and never missed a chance to make others feel seen. Her life was stolen by someone she trusted, and even in death, she fought to be found. It was the final pin drop location sent from her phone in the early hours of November 23rd, sent in silence, that gave her mother the first real clue. A digital cry for help, from someone who knew her time was running out. That location led her parents to the exact building where Jason Chen lived. It was Jasmine's final message, and her mother listened. Jasmine's story is one of loss, heartbreak, and unimaginable violence, but also one of love, persistence, and justice. And it raises difficult questions we can't ignore. How many more Jasmines are out there? How many cries for help go unheard? Maybe that's why these stories matter. Because when we remember Jasmine, we're not just remembering how she died, we're remembering how she lived, and how hard her family fought to bring the truth into the light. If this story moved you, take a moment to honor Jasmine's memory. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share her story. Let's make sure her voice, and the voices of so many others, are never silenced again. I'll be here, waiting, on the next Mysterious Wednesday.